Hello. Hello. Thank you for checking in. It is Friday. Great to see everybody. And yeah, I'm breaking tradition that we're not doing any jokes today, Funny Friday, because I just have been feeling way too serious all week to feel like sending jokes, even though people probably need to relax. It's been a very stressful week, but we've got more of this same terrorist car attacks like we had in Charlottesville. We just had in Barcelona and an attack in Finland. So things are crazy. And yeah, they're, so hello. Yeah. So I'm still, so yeah, no jokes. It's not a funny Friday because I don't feel very funny. I don't know about you guys. I feel like this is a kind of like a dire situation um, that really needs to be taken care of. This has gone on too far. Anyhow, but smarter people than me are in charge of that. And oh, I want to let you guys know, warn you, I am going to be out of town all next week. So I will not be here for the entire week. So I will see you back following Monday. Sorry about that. But much needed out of town. Hi, Wing Doggy. So I will be gone for an entire week. So you will be safe from my political rants for an entire week. Why is that doing that? Why is that doing that? Why is that doing that? Oh, Wing Doggy, I think you got, I don't know, something, for some reason it's doing that. So, but yeah, so no, I'll be gone for an entire week. So just want to let you know. But yeah, the political situation is dire. This is really, really bad, and I'm sure a lot of you are maybe finally, hopefully, recognizing that. And it's weird. How'd that happen? I have no idea. Okay, it's been really weird today. So yeah, so I'm not gonna die right away. So that's good to know. So sorry I wasn't here yesterday. Um, Linda says, "What about the eclipse?" Oh yeah, I don't know. I have not even. I have been so obsessed this past week with the politics every day that I haven't even paid any attention to the eclipse. When is it supposed to be happening? Monday. Oh, okay. Monday is the eclipse. All right. So I I have not paid any attention to that, but I know that that's probably some interesting stuff. I will be out of town for the entire week, so I won't be here. I won't be able to do any shows, but I will be back the following week. And Sam says, "Don't look at it. You can't look at the eclipse." So Linda says, no, you can't without special glasses. Oh, okay. Why? What'll happen if I thought the eclipse would mean it would everything would get dark? Will your eyes burn up? And this says, no, it will mess up your vision. Okay. Okay, yes, the moon will be blocking the sun. All right, and apparently it can mess up your eyes. So, but it's going to be on TV. Yeah, the eclipse is actually, it's not really the moon. It's an alien starship blocking out our sun so that they can land their pods. Oh wait, NASA, I believe, says something else. Is that what I'm hearing? Hi, St. Clinton. St. Clinton wants to know. St. Clinton has a serious question. St. Clinton says, why has it taken so long for the white population, and speaking, or the majority of the white population or the white media, why has it taken them so long to catch up and finally recognize the issues and sentiments that minorities have been talking about for years? Charlottesville is the latest example, and that's from St. Clinton. St. Clinton, you are absolutely correct. First of all, there's no excuse for it. And some people have been hearing this and echoing the same sentiments, but you haven't been hearing it. You haven't been getting it on mainstream news. You haven't had people really writing it, complaining about it. Most of the time, it was just something that people were ignoring. They're like, yeah, that's right. But people were like, yeah, I know, I agree, but what are you going to do about it? And now people actually feel motivated to do something about it. So this is a tipping point. I think, St. Clinton. This is a turning point. I'd say, some of our friends said, our friend Linda, who happens to be well, she's a very nice lady. She's a fan of Donald Trump, and she believes that he's God's candidate. And my response is, perhaps, if that is true, if you want to see it that way, it was, they say God works in mysterious ways. Perhaps he wanted to provide an example so atrocious, so heinous, that it would have to wake people up and get people moving and motivated and engaged, rather than apathetic, because the last few months people have gotten, Laura, I'm afraid you're wrong on this one. And David Jones, you're wrong on that too. David Jones, really, David Jones. Yeah, St. Clinton is absolutely right. These have been issues that have been festering for a really long time, and they've been highlighted and emphasized by the current administration. And it has finally motivated people to really recognize and get off their butts and say, wait a minute, this is not right. This is not who we are. And we need to change. We need to do better. And it's really, really made a lot of arguments for equality and arguments, things that have been really upsetting for a lot of people in the minority populations. It's really bringing those things to the forefront so that other people are recognizing and acknowledging these things and doing something about it, taking action and saying no more. So this has been a tipping point in a way, and it's really sad that somebody's had to die to really wake people up to, like, what the hell is going on? How did we slip down this rabbit hole? So I'll explain it to you later, Alara. But okay, I won't. Yeah, but yeah, when you get in bed with Nazis and our political enemies, Russia, you're on the wrong side. There is no equivocating that. And there's also no equivocating. I think a lot of times, for a lot of years, we've given a pass to some of this nostalgia in the South. People said, oh, it's part of history, it's part of the Southern. No, that's not really true. First of all, historians will tell you that most of these Confederate monuments and statues were built long after the Civil War. And they were actually built in, I tweeted an article by a historian yesterday, that they were actually built at points in time when segregation and when the white Southern population was feeling particularly threatened, and wanted to create a monument to highlight their dominance, I guess, if you would say. And that was a lot of what it was about. And you don't see monuments to Hitler, right? You don't see monuments to Hitler. Nobody's putting up statues to Hitler. You don't see anyone, like little Jewish kids, having to go to, Heil Hitler High School or anything like that. So it's a little weird to have all of these monuments to different people in the Civil War who were on the opposite side, were fighting to leave the country and fighting for the right to keep slavery as part of their economic system. And that's, a lot of people have tried to argue that the Civil War wasn't about slavery. It was 100% about slavery. And if you look at all the articles, all of the reasons why, the articles of secession and the articles that started the Civil War when the states left, their number one reason was slavery. So you can't try and go back in history and say it wasn't about slavery. It absolutely was. So yeah. And a bunch of states who wanted to keep slavery and leave the United States. So I don't see why we would want to keep celebrating that or honoring that flag or those people. seems not like something that I would want to celebrate. And St. Clinton says, minorities have been dying for years, but when a white person dies, it seems to make more difference. I wish she didn't have to die, but that's what it feels like to him. And you're right, St. Clinton, you're absolutely right. And this has been, I mean, we've been seeing for years with like police and arrests where and crimes where if you have the same two crimes, the black kid is going to get a much harsher sentence than the white kid. When people get pulled over, so often, I know you've all seen the videos, and this has happened way, way too often for it to be a coincidence. This is terrifying to see black people getting pulled over for, you know, like a broken taillight or making a wrong signal and getting shot or killed or beat up. Insane how things, where you see the same incident on tape where a white person, they get a ticket and the officers are nice and polite to them and they don't get shot. You also see and much different prison sentences. So first of all, the same crime, one person's got the white kid might get parole or community service, and the black kid gets sent to jail for 6 months. And you've got right now, what's really dangerous is, I don't know if you've been paying attention to this, but privatized prisons, which means you have a company, a corporation, somebody owns the prisons. It's a money-making business. A prison shouldn't be a money-making business, because optimally you want keep people out of prisons. The main goal of prisons is to rehabilitate, and you don't want people in prisons. However, if you have a private prison system, their main goal is to make a profit. They make profits by having more people in prisons for longer. And there's been a problem with judges in this privatized prison systems, where judges are incentivized, like they get a commission for every person they send to jail. They get like a kickback, you know. So instead of somebody getting parole, instead of the black kid getting parole, you get 6 months in prison. That judge gets, you know, a kickback, and judges have been kicked off the bench, and this happens. So that's a really bad thing. Prisons should never be privatized. Neither should schools. Schools shouldn't be privatized, because you want to have a standard across the country education system where everybody's going to get an equal education, or at least hopefully equal. You don't want to be like where you've got vast differences in learning, because that's bad for the country in the long run. You also don't want to have a privatized air traffic control system, because you might have one that's really good and one that's really bad. I don't want to fly in an airplane where they're passing through zones and some have different levels of quality control for air traffic controllers. That's another thing that should be standardized. But yeah, Sam says a bunch of judges just went to jail here for sending kids to prison for that very same reason. Yeah, you get You get a commission, you get a bonus for every kid you send to jail. And then once you send people to jail, they have a prison record. That affects the rest of their life. So yeah, anyhow, but yeah, St. Clinton's absolutely right. Where there is a noticeable difference to the way people are treated. And regardless of how many people try to say, I'm not prejudicial, I'm not a racist, well, most of us, let's be honest, we have to be honest, most of us are racist, a little bit. And it doesn't matter what color, everybody's a little bit racist. But recognizing that and trying to change that is the first step. And recognizing also that, recognizing that and not being defensive about it and getting angry. Instead, actually try to recognize and see what somebody's trying to tell you. Because sometimes people have a blind spot, or they feel very defensive about that term of being called a racist, and they refuse to hear what somebody's saying. And I think it's important for everybody to look at themselves. And it's not just calling somebody names, it's everything. And you hear a lot about white privilege in the news, and people say, "What white privilege? What's that? I don't have this, I don't have that, I'm not getting anything special." You don't realize what it is, but the basis of it is the fact that you never think you might get killed if you get pulled over for a traffic violation. If you get pulled over because you're speeding, you never have to worry that you're going to end up going to jail or getting killed. If you are a minority, that is a real, if you're a minority male especially, that is a real issue. And you get treated much differently. You wouldn't realize that or notice it if you're white, because the way you're treated is just, it's normal. You don't recognize that normal is not how other people are treated. And so, but St. Clinton, you're absolutely right. And this is, and I mean, it's easy to point out people who are carrying a Nazi flag and are visibly and vocally, unabashedly racist. But we have to actually recognize, the small ways that play into our everyday life, that are also feeding this. And St. Clinton's right. I mean, when you look at even little things like when you see like a small child that's been killed, like a little girl that was murdered, disappeared or something, so often the ones that get the huge national coverage and attention is a cute little blonde girl. And we've seen this huge things about, and at the same time, there's a cute little black girl who also disappeared, kidnapped, killed, something, barely gets any news coverage. It'll get some local coverage, but very rarely gets the same kind of national coverage and so these are all little things that you don't notice. You don't even realize if if you're a white person, you don't realize this. It seems normal. You don't even notice it. You would notice it if you were a minority. And so sometimes it's not just the obvious name calling and screaming and saying you hate things. It hate somebody. It's all these little things in daily life that add up. And those are the kind of small things that we can all kind of recognize and maybe try to work on, try to change or improve, at least, hopefully. St. Clinton. And David Jones says microaggression. Yeah. And little things, though, you know, the little things like little small things that happen in everyday life. And you've seen videos where, you know, two people go through the cash register at the grocery store, and you know, one person's writing a check, and it's like, oh, fine, blah blah blah, take the check. And the white woman writes a check, no problem. The black woman writes a check. They got to go through and scan and make sure, like, she's not a bad check writer. It was just a thing a week ago that I read about, that a black man went to the Chase Bank to cash a Chase check and deposit a Chase check. And for whatever reason, the cashier didn't believe that it was really his check, and called the police that this guy was trying to cash a large fake check. And the guy was arrested. It was a Friday. He was arrested. He was put in jail. And Chase eventually realized that it was a real check from them that he was trying to deposit in a Chase Bank. And so they called and left a message at the police station, though it was wherever they left the message, nobody checked that machine until like Monday. This guy ended up being in jail for 5 days for trying to cash his own check at a Chase Bank. Because he was in jail, his car, which he had parked when he went into the bank, got towed. Because the check was kept as evidence, he wasn't able to deposit it. His car was repossessed because he didn't pay the bills that were due, and it got towed, and they were parking. So his car got sold. He lost his job because he was gone for 5 days and in jail. I mean, this guy's life was ruined because some teller couldn't accept that he was just a regular guy depositing his check at a Chase Bank, a Chase check, like anyone else. And this is the kind of thing, you don't think about it. Have any of you ever thought or worried, like, if I go to the bank and deposit this check, are they going to think that it's not a real check and that I could get arrested? This guy lost his car, lost his job, was in jail. I'm not sure if he's even gotten the check back since then. And Chase made like no effort to make sure this guy they didn't apologize. I don't know if anything's happened since then, because I think since then he's gotten a lawyer. But the last I read in this article last week, Chase hadn't gotten back to him to apologize. They hadn't offered any restitution. I mean, they had a guy arrested for trying to cash his check from them. It's insane. So these are all the small microaggression. Oh, and when St. Clinton. Well, St. Clinton, I really appreciate your jokes, but I wasn't doing any jokes today because it's just, I think you have to agree with this. There's not that much to laugh about right now. And I'm very serious today, this whole week. Yeah, eventually the guy was let out of jail, but his life was a shambles. I mean, Chase owes him a car, a new job, and um, payment for his suffering. And they owe a huge apology to anyone and the entire Black population that banks with them, because that shouldn't happen when you go to the bank to deposit your own check. It's ridiculous. Linda says, I think that means that we need jokes even more. All right. St. Clinton has a joke. Where do old Volkswagens go when they die? Or when they get old? To the old Volks home. Ba-dum-bum. Yeah. So anyhow, so that is my rant for today. But yeah, racism is alive and well, and it's more than just the crazy fanatics that you see carrying flags and shouting horrible stuff. And but beyond the small microaggression, daily little tiny thing, little tiny like bits and bits of racism, there also is the large presence that we really need to identify and uncompromisingly challenge and eliminate, and not accept. That is not, you do not get to be a Nazi. You do not get to carry, you have the freedom of speech to say whatever you want, but your freedom of speech also comes with consequences. And I have no tolerance for that. Millions of people died around the world fighting against that kind of hate speak. And we had World War II. We fought with the rest of the world against Nazis, against the idea that one race is superior to the other, and that you can eliminate those that you do not agree with, that you can eliminate another race because you don't think that they deserve to be there. It's not up to you to make that choice. And that is not an appropriate, that is not an appropriate way to be. That is an evil way of thinking. So yeah, that is an evil way of thinking, and it is certainly not something that should be equivocating or making excuses for. So yeah, and that is a moral imperative that needs to be very clearly stated in government. Our elected officials must be very clear in their words and their actions that they do not support that in any way, shape, or form. David Jones says he doesn't like violence from anyone. No, that's true, David Jones. Though in World War II, we were forced to get very violent to fight the Nazis. World War II, that was pretty violent. And hopefully never again will we have to go through that. But when this stuff starts happening, we need to address it. All right. So anyhow, so it is, wow, I talked a long time today. So yeah, so just to remind you guys, I will not be here next week. I will be out of town. So yeah, but I will be back the following Monday. So I hope everybody can have a great week. And I will be checking my email and Twitter and Facebook, so you can still get in touch with me. And I'll probably be retweeting. I have retweeted some really important articles about the Nazi Party and the white supremacists, and about the Russian investigation collaboration with the current administration. Very important. Really, if you haven't read those, you should, because this is imperative to our nation's future. All right. Kisses for everybody. Bye. Love you all. Bye. Bye. I love you.